All right, guys, just got installing a 50-inch curved light bar, 2016 Silverado. I know there's not a whole lot of videos out there about any of this stuff on the newer model trucks. Do it yourself kind of stuff. Anyways, I thought I'd go through it. Anybody got any questions or wondering how they should go about installing it? Well, this is how I went about it. I chose these roof brackets here. Got them from a local, performance parts store. Anyway, first thing is they tell you to remove these drip rail moldings. And really, they come out pretty easy. They just tell you to work it back and forth with a screwdriver, pop it up. What they don't tell you is the clips underneath of them are very delicate, pretty brittle plastic clips. I recommend picking up a few of them before you start this, or you're going to be running back up to the dealer or parts store to get some more clips, because they will break, or at least some of them will. And also, there's two holes that you got to drill in the drip rail, the 5/16 drill bit. I recommend probably starting at 1/4 inch or so and working up to 5/16. It is pretty thick steel down here in these drip rails. It's almost 1/4 inch thick, so you're going to want to get a really good drill bit. I had a high strength steel drill bit, worked pretty good. And I also tell you to remove both of the pillar covers and the visors and the assist handles and all that kind of stuff. And from my experience, I did all that just because it's the first time I've ever done anything to this truck. So I went ahead and did all that. And the reason behind that is so that when you drill through the drip rails, you don't drill into the side curtain airbags that are all up in here. Well, there's a double layer roof. So, I mean, as long as you only go through just enough to get through the top of the roof in the drip rail, there's no way you're going to hit any of that airbag or anything like that. So, I mean, if you really want to make yourself feel safe and confident you're not going to drill into the airbags, you can pull that stuff off. But if I had to do it again, I wouldn't be pulling all the interior stuff out. It's just a bunch of extra time. For the wiring, I haven't been able to find any videos on YouTube or anything how people ran the power wire inside the cab from the light bar. And the directions say right behind the bracket or wherever you want to drill another hole through the roof to run the wire down in there and then silicone it up. Well, I really didn't want to drill another hole in there considering there's already 4. And not to mention, it's just another place for water to leak in the future, and I just didn't want to deal with that. And it's a brand new truck, and I really wanted to drill as least amount of holes as possible. So I cut back the casing on this. You can see it. So that I could get the 2 wires down next to the little seal that's on the drip rail there. And then I was able to run them down here. And I used a feeler gauge. I don't know, most people don't have those handy, but I used a little feeler gauge and lifted this little seal up all the way down. As I started the wires up here, I used the feeler gauge to hold that seal towards the window and slowly work those wires underneath that seal all the way down. And then lifts this little cover here in the corner. If you get in the side of it, it kind of lifts up a little bit to where you can get those wires right in that corner. And there's that gap back there is just big enough to fit the positive and negative from that light bar in there, and allows the seal to fold back down against the pillar. It worked out pretty good. I'm actually really happy with that, not having to drill any more holes. And then I ran that down underneath the hinge there, right down here. You can see it or not. And zip tied the harness to the existing harness that's back there against the firewall, right over towards where the battery's at. And it's hooked up positive and negative to the battery. And then the relay, there was already a hole in this fender, so I just bolted the relay right there, right on the bottom, and then just zip tied it up, prettied up. And the switch, there's a big boot down there, right down here. I was able to sneak that 3-wire harness inside the cab for the switch. And, I just ran it in. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. I just ran it in here underneath the steering column. The gap is underneath the column, right up here, and mounted the switch right here. It's right below the gauges, somewhere easy to get to. But other than that, it installed pretty easy. Like I said, if I had to do it again, I wouldn't be removing all that, the headliner and the visors and pillars and all that stuff. That just really didn't need to be done unless you're going all out and drill down in there like 3 inches into the cab, then you'd probably hit the airbag. But if you just go through just enough to get through the roof there, you'll have no problems hitting any of that stuff. All right, let me turn it on, you guys see it. I really liked it too. I was going to get the other rough country brackets that go into the pillars there, that wrap inside the pillar and around the pillar, to put the light bar down here right against the windshield. But I really didn't, like I said before, I really didn't want to drill too many holes in the truck. And not to mention, with the rough country one, you gotta drill 3 holes in the pillar right here. So, later on, if I decide I want to take this thing off here, I'm going to have, 6 holes in my pillars. I really don't want there. You'll never be able to hide those. So that's why I chose those roof mount ones, and it looks pretty good. Doesn't stick up too high off the roof either. That's what I was worried about. I didn't want to have it sitting way above my roof, But anybody got any questions or comments or anything, just feel free to leave me a comment, or I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks, appreciate watching. Bye.